I can't have children, and my wife doesn't want to adopt. This Saturday, I talked to my wife, and we decided that it's best for us to break up. I loved her a lot, and I'm sure she loved me too. I think I chose my words poorly in the other post and left out important information, so I'll explain in more detail what led to the separation. I've never been against biological children because we're all biological children of someone. However, I've always been against spending money to have biological children. If we're going to spend money, I believe it's more fair to spend it on adoption since there are thousands of children wanting a home. This isn't a new position of mine, but for some reason, in these 9 years of our relationship, dating plus marriage, my ex-wife and I never discussed this. When I found out I couldn't have children naturally, I told my wife that I wanted to adopt. She then mentioned there were methods for us to still have biological children, mainly in vitro fertilization. So I explained my stance on the matter to her. She even had consultations on her own, tried to convince me, until she came to the conclusion that artificial insemination would be the best option since being biologically related wasn't as important to me, and the costs would be much lower. That's when our discussion on the topic escalated. She saw that I wouldn't budge, so she started saying extremely negative things about children who are up for adoption. She said things like these children are problematic, which is why their biological parents don't want them, that these problems can't be solved with love, care, and psychological support, and that most of these children will end up drug users or simply have no future. I felt personally offended because I myself was a child abandoned by my parents. And when I told her that, she simply said I was an exception. I feel that her saying these things is like a black person being married to a racist. I feel that if she had known from the beginning that I was a child who was abandoned, she wouldn't want to be in a relationship with me. I feel that she would hate me without even knowing me. Furthermore, she has the right to be a biological mother, and I was taking that right away from her, which was also extremely unfair of me. For these reasons, I ended our relationship. Unfortunately, in the previous post, many people also made prejudiced comments about children in the adoption process. The adoption process is not traumatic, it's the process of being abandoned by biological parents, the waiting to be adopted, and many other things that can be traumatic. I understand those who say that children have traumas, but please, give them a chance. They're not to blame for what happened to them. I know not everyone is ready to adopt, but at least don't speak ill of the process or discourage those who want to adopt. I was adopted at an older age than the average, graduated from college, and never caused any trouble for my parents. Of course, I have my personal issues, but I don't think I ever caused any problems for my parents because of them. The happiest day of my life was the day I was adopted. I remember that day every day.